In this video, we shall prove this theorem and two of its corollaries. Theorem says that if A is an element of infinite order in a group, then all its distinct powers are distinct group elements. So we can make powers of A as follows. We can start with a to the power 0, a to the power 1, a square, and so on, and also the negative powers a minus 1, a minus 2, and so on. Theorem says that if a is of infinite order, that means a to the power n is not 1 for any positive integer n, then all these powers are distinct group elements. On the other hand, if a is of finite order, say n, then the only distinct powers of a are these ones: a to the power 0, that means 1, a to the power 1, that is a square, and so on up to a to the power n minus 1. So these are the only distinct powers of a. If we take another powers, that means if we keep going on like this, a to the power n, a to the power n plus 1, and so on, and in the negative side a minus 1, a minus 2, then theorem says that these are the only distinct powers of a. If we take another powers, then they would be equal to one of these powers. Theorem also says that two powers of a to the power I and a to the power j, are equal if and only if n divides the difference of I minus j. So let us start proving the theorem. First case, we take that order of a is infinite. Because order of a is infinite, no non-zero power of a can kill a. So a to the power n cannot be 1 for any non-zero n. Only a to the power 0 can be 1. Now we have to show that distinct powers of a are distinct. So suppose two powers of a are equal. Ai is same as aj, and our aim is to show that I and j are equal. So if ai is same as aj, then that implies that a to the power I minus j is 1. Remember, only a to the power 0 can be 1. So this forces that I minus j is 0. This implies I and j are equal. So all distinct powers of a are distinct. Let us now take the case when order of a is finite, say n. We have to prove that cyclic group generated by a, that means all the powers of a are only these n powers, starting with a to the power 0, that is 1, and ending with a to the power n minus 1. We first show that all these powers are distinct. So suppose ai is equal to aj, I and j both are between 0 and n minus 1, and they are distinct. So we are assuming j is less than I. So ai equal to aj will imply that a to the power I minus j is 1, but I minus j is strictly less than n, and because order of a is n, so this is a contradiction, because no power less than n, no positive power less than n of a can be 1. So we have proved that these powers are distinct, but we have to show that these are the only powers of a. So let us take another power of a, say a to the power k. We can divide k by n. There will be some quotient q and some remainder r, and of course remainder can be either 0 or it will be less than n. So if we take the a to the power k, it becomes now a raised to power nq plus r. We can separate these two powers. So it is a to the power nq into a to the power r. A to the power nq, we can write it as a raised to power n and then raised to power q. but a to the power n is 1, so we have 1 to the power q and a to the power r. 1 to the power q is 1, so we are left with only a raised to power r, and because r is between 0 to n minus 1, so a to the power r is one of these elements. So we have proved that all the powers of a cyclic group generated by a is having only these powers. In the last part of the theorem, we have to show that two powers of a, ai and aj, are equal if and only if n divides the difference of I and j. Okay, so it is if and only if part. So first assume that ai is equal to aj. We have to show that n divides I minus j. Notice that these are any two powers of a, I and j. They are not lying between 0 to n now. So, so if ai is equal to aj, then this implies that a to the power I minus j is 1. Let us divide I minus j by n. So there will be some quotient and remainder. Remainder lies between 0 to n. So if we take now a to the power I minus j, we can replace I minus j by nq plus r, but a to the power nq is 1, so we are left with a to the power r. But a to the power I minus j, we are assuming it is 1, so we get a to the power r equal to 1, but r cannot be positive and less than n because that will contradict the order of a, so that means r is 0. So if r is 0, remainder is 0, so n divides I minus j. Conversely, suppose that n divides I minus j, we have to show that a to the power I and a to the power j both are equal. So if n divides I minus j, then I minus j will be a multiple of n. So suppose I minus j is n times q. This implies a to the power I minus j is a to the power nq, but a to the power n is 1, so this is also 1. So a to the power I minus j is 1. This implies that a to the power I is equal to a to the power j. This finishes the proof of the theorem. These are the two corollaries to this theorem. First corollary says that order of a cyclic group and order of its generator both are same. This corollary immediately follows from the theorem, because in theorem we have proved that if A is of infinite order, then it has infinitely many distinct powers. So a cyclic group generated by an element is nothing but the collection of all the powers of the elements. So if A is of infinite order, it will have infinitely many distinct powers. So that's why order of A and order of cyclic group generated by A both are of infinite order. And if A is of finite order, then it has exactly n distinct power if its order is n. And we have also seen in the theorem that cyclic group generated by A, or all the distinct, that same thing as distinct powers of A, are n in numbers. So in the finite case also, order of A and order of cyclic group generated by A both are same. The second corollary says that if G is a group and an element of G is of order n, then if any other power, any other k kills A, then n must divide k. Okay, so suppose a to the power k is 1, so that means a to the power k is equal to a to the power 0. In the theorem we have shown that if a to the power I and a to the power j are equal, then n divides I minus j. So here in this particular case n divides k minus 0, so that means n divides k.